whereby it's true and accurate.
Yes.
Thank you. Well, need to make sure and feel free to move that microphone close to you, or just say Chuck, and he'll come fix it. There you go. Yeah, you can move the mic.
Yeah, is that better?
Yeah, that's better. We just need to make sure Darcy hears you. Go ahead, Mr. Jorde. Sorry.
Yep, thank you. Please state your name, sir.
Gail Todd.
And Mr. Todd, do you own 3 parcels that in Cherokee County that Summit seeks eminent domain rights for its hazardous pipeline?
Actually, there's 4, but the one is just like 70 feet in the corner, across the corner.
Okay, you believe there's 4 total parcels? All right. And you, those parcels are held in a trust of yours, is that correct?
That's correct. My wife's got a trust and I got a trust.
All right. And you and your wife, along with the trust, filed what's called pre-filed testimony, questions and answers in writing. You recall that?
Yes.
And rather than going through all of that all over again, if I were to ask you those same questions, would the answers you give here today be substantially similar?
Yes.
And can you, sir, think of any particular correction, kind of an important correction or update that you have before we get started?
No.
I would offer Exhibit 51, the Mr. and Mrs. Todd's pre-filed testimony and attachment.
Are there objections?
No objection, Your Honor.
Seeing no objection, the board will admit and give the weight due.
Sir, at this time, some other folks may have questions for you, okay? Thank you.
All right, thank you. Mr. Taylor?
Thank you.
Mr. Todd, I'm Wally Taylor. I represent the Sierra Club.
Okay.
Can we bring up the KMZ file on this one? Mr. Todd, do you see the map on the screen there?
Yes.
Does that red portion show your property?
Yes.
Okay. And the diagonal white line, does that appear to be the pipeline route as you understand it?
Yes.
Okay. Did you ever get any other pipeline location route from Summit other than that one?
No.
Okay. What is that the green area in the middle of the bottom portion of your property?
That's the pasture.
Okay. Did you ever talk to any Summit representatives about the pipeline project and where they were going to put it?
Well, I've talked to a couple of them. Talked to one on the phone about all he asked as if they could survey. And I said, do I have a choice? And he did not answer me. But they did survey on 28th of March of this past year. We were in Omaha. My wife had knee replacement. But I was notified by a neighbor that they were in there. And I went down afterwards and they dug 15 holes between the pasture fence and the creek. And that's that dark area.
How big were these holes?
Well, they evidently had a power pool installed either. And they were probably 10 inches to a foot in diameter. And then up on top of the hill in the pasture there, above, across the creek on top of the hill there, they dug about 6 up there. When you go, that pipeline goes across the creek and it goes up a hill that is an 18% incline. And what's going to happen there is cows are gonna walk down that pipeline. If it rains, water's gonna run down it and probably wash it out.
You mean wash the pipeline out?
Yeah,
Are there any other pipelines on your property?
no,
Yeah. So what did you talk to the summit agents about when you talked to them?
well, the first one was a lady who drove in my yard. Instead of stopping at the house, she drove up behind where the grain bins was, because I had a tractor sitting up there that was 40-some years old. And she had a look at it because she had one like it. And then she come back to the house, and it kind of torqued me off a little bit that she had drive up behind there for no reason. And I went out on the deck and sat there and talked to her. And I just told her I wasn't interested. And she says, well, the pipeline's going to go through here if you like it or not. And I said, well, we'll see what happens. And she left. And then there was probably this past spring, a guy stopped there. I can't remember his name either, but first I went out to get the mail one day, and laying on top of my mail was a flyer and his business card. So when he come back a few days later, I said, you know, that's against the law, to put something in a man's mailbox. Well, I didn't know that. I apologize. And then a few days later, he come back and he says, my boss is going to be around here on Wednesday. Will you be around to talk to him? And I said, yeah, I'll be here. Well, Tuesday he come back and he said, well, the boss wouldn't be around until Thursday. So I waited all day Thursday and he didn't show up.
And is that the last contact you've had with
That's
anybody?
the last contact I had with him.
Okay. And so they never talked to you about an alternate route?
I asked the last gentleman that was there about it route, and he said, talk to my boss about it. Well, he didn't come, so I didn't talk to him.
On this map, there are some buildings north of the horizontal part of your property. Is that still your property up there?
Across the road?
No, south of the road.
That's my farmstead, yes.
So that's where you live?
Right.
Okay. Are you concerned about any danger or risk from the pipeline?
Objection,
Yes,
Your
I
Honor.
am.
State the objection. Danger and risk, safety-related information is on the vast majority of the pages of this 250-page pre-filed testimony. Asked and answered. Thank you.
I'll ask another question.
Thank you, sir.
Where would the closest emergency management personnel be if they came?
It'd be from Holstein, which is 7.5 miles.
Is that a volunteer department?
It's a totally volunteer department.
Can we see page 46 of his direct testimony? It's actually attachment 1, I guess. Is this a map that, yes, who gave this map to you?
I got the map in the mail.
Oh, this came from Summit?
Yes.
Okay. And do you know what the items are that are adjacent to the red line?
Yes. What part do you want to know?
Well, there's a red line. I assume that's the pipeline, correct?
Yes, that's the pipeline.
And then there are some dashed lines or,
Evidently, that's they're part of their easement.
okay. And then there are some little boxes that come out toward the southwest,
That's
southeast, I'm sorry.
That's where the creek is, and evidently they're going to bore under the creek.
Okay. Does that boring under the creek cause you any concern?
Well, it's going to have to be awful deep to get under the creek, because I think the bank there could be 4 to 5 feet higher than the water.
Okay, we'll go to the next page. What did you intend to show here?
That is the pipeline going to go into the next quarter section, where I said it was like 70 feet long.
Yes.
That's that right there.
Okay. Down in the southwest corner.
Right.
Okay. Let's go to the next page. What did you intend to show here?
Well, that is what
Objection, Your Honor.
the tile line
State
is.
the objection.
The attachments to the testimony are explained in the direct testimony. I don't understand the purpose of going page after page after page and asking, what is this? That's just direct examination.
Mr. Taylor.
Well, I think it's important to show, and I'm not trying to belabor this, I think it's important to show, what he's trying to display here, and I think that this is a better way to do it than perhaps the written testimony. There's only 5 pages.
If I may respond, Your Honor, Mr. Jorde is this gentleman's counsel who assisted him with his direct written testimony. I think Mr. Jorde is capable of making a decision as to how to best present that.
Mr. Jorde.
Well, the fact that it's attached is obviously true, but in terms of, like, for instance, the contours and the tile lines, I think there's more to the story here. I don't know what Mr. Taylor's getting at, but I mean, I certainly think a few questions would be appropriate.
Mr. Leonard, do you have a response?
Yes, the point of having a direct testimony deadline and presumably submitting 250 pages worth of testimony and exhibits is to present the information and explain it. That's what direct examination is in the process before the board. What Mr. Taylor is doing by flipping through the pages of his direct and asking him, what is this? What does that mean? Is simply more direct. It's not cross-examination.
Mr. Taylor, please ask the question related.
I have no more questions.
Thank you. Ms. Colas.
Good afternoon, Mr. Todd. I'm Jean Colas, Colas Family Farms, and I'm also a Cherokee County landowner. I had some questions pertaining to you referred to as the creek. What waterway feeds that? Do you know?
That is Silver Creek. It starts from the north edge of Holstein and runs north. Right where I live is probably the biggest flood area because the bridge on 640th Street was replaced in 1981, and it's not big enough. The one a mile south on 650th Street is a lot bigger. The one in a mile north on the street up there, the road up there, was replaced a year ago, and it's twice as long as the one is by my road.
Does it always have standing water in it?
Yes.
You mentioned that you had pasture land. Do you run cattle?
I rented my pasture out to a neighbor who puts cows and calves and bulls in there. They're probably there close to 8 months out of the year. And he's probably got $150,000 worth of cattle in there right now.
Okay. When they did the survey, I didn't catch it. Did they ask for your permission to go on your land?
No more than that telephone call that when I asked him if I had a choice.
Did they contact you when they were on your land then?
No, they did not.
Did they give you any time frame of when they might be there?
No,
And they left boards that those cattle might have been at risk of? Did they fill them in?
well, they did it on the 28th of March, which the cattle were not there at that time.
There was cattle when they did the survey?
Not when they surveyed it. There was not cattle there.
Okay. Do you depend on this rental income, or do you have family members that farm it?
Yes,
So you're really concerned about how that pipeline could impact your income?
definitely.
I'm familiar with that area. You probably have a lot of tile, correct?
No, I just got that what it showed in that last
Just
one.
one. Okay. No further questions. Thank you.
If there's no further questions, Mr. Jorde for redirect.
Yes, I do have a question on that tile, that map. It's page 48 of his testimony, please. So in your written portion, you say we do have tile in section 27, and then you attach this map. I just want to be clear, is the black kind of marker on the left-hand side of page 48 of exhibit 41, is that the only tile you have on your affected property?
Correct.
Okay, all right, very good. And then as to the boreholes, did they backfill the boreholes with cement and bentonite mixture, as far as you know?
Nope, filled them full of dirt. The grass slab they dug out, they put that on top of it.
Okay, so it doesn't look exactly like it did before they did that work.
Not quite.
Okay, all right. And did they contact you about any compensation for any damages or that inconvenience?
No.
All right. I don't have anything further, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. You're excused.
We will call Patricia Byer.